Hello, 7th graders. It's Mr. King here. It's another late night here on Thursday evening, but I'm going to go through this practice test with you as quickly as I can. I might even break it up into a few videos. So let's try to get through at least the first 6 problems here and see how long that takes. Okay, so I already started this first problem, and I was so rudely interrupted by my phone having an issue. But if we remember this, when we see decimals in an equation, we can get rid of the decimals by multiplying by a power of 10. So what I've done is I've chosen 10 because there's a decimal here and a decimal point here. It may be easier to see, may not be as easy to see as we'd like. So we have 10 times each of these to get rid of the decimals. So this becomes 119, this becomes 70u, and this becomes 77. I simply multiply by a power of 10, move the decimal place to the right, even for the whole numbers. Well, I see that I have an equation with a u in it, and I have constants or whole numbers. So I want to get the constants on one side of the equation and terms with the variable on the other side. So this is one side of the equation, the other side. So now I'm at the point where I subtract 119. This becomes a 0 pair. And this is 119 and 77. What is their difference? Well, we take the larger minus the smaller, and the larger minus the smaller, that will be, let's see now, larger minus the smaller, that'd be 119 minus 77. Well, that gives me 2, and 11 minus 7 gives me a 4. Okay. And so that's 42. However, the sign goes to the larger number. The larger number was negative, so this will be a negative 42. And you can see, if you think about a number line, that it would be true. So my next step is I would divide by 70 on both sides. If I divide by 70, I put that into my handy dandy calculator, and this will become u equals negative point, just a second, my handy dandy calculator, negative 0.6. So that is the solution for that question right there. If I go on to the next one, okay, 61.5c, I see how many places to the right of the decimal do you see? Well, here's the decimal, here's a decimal, there's no decimal here. Well, I see 2 places that I would need to move to make that a whole number. So I'm going to go ahead and move it 2 times. That means I'm multiplying by 100 in every term, no matter where it is. So I have 61.5 multiplied by 100, that'll be 6,150. C plus 1,200 equals 855. So in order to get this C by itself, or C on one side of the equation, I have my calculator here. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 1,200 from each side so I get the term with the C by itself. So if I subtract 1,200 from each side, okay, these numbers are getting a little bigger here, so it always helps to set up your equation and work on this as carefully as you can. So this becomes a 0 pair, and what remains on the left side is 6,150 C. And over on the right side, I get, let's see, 1,200 minus 855, because I took the larger minus the smaller, okay? That's 1,200 minus 855, and that is 345. But the answer of this gets the sign of the larger number. Well, when you look at the absolute value of these numbers, this number is larger. Now all I have to do is divide both sides by 6,150 on each side. And when I do that, let's see, 345, and I do divide by, where's my number? 6. That should be C equals negative 0.056. And it goes on a lot farther than that, but we'll round it to 3 decimal places today. Now let's go on to letter C. Here's letter C. We have -4. This is a 2.2n. And I'm sorry of my writing here. We'll just cancel. And I'm -23.06. I'm going to go ahead and multiply it by 100 everywhere again. Why 100? Because there are two decimal places, or two places to the right of the decimal. So if I multiply everything by 100, I get -400 equals 220n minus 2,306. So what should I do now? Here's the term with the n. So the variable is here. With that variable here, I'm going to leave it here, I think, and I'm going to go ahead and add 2306. If I add 2306 to both sides, then what happens is this becomes my zero pair, and that's, I chose 2306, so that would become a zero pair, and I'm left with only the n term on this side. Then I have to find the difference between these. -400. This will be 1,906. I took their difference. I did 2,306 minus 400 gives you that number. Now we're going to divide both sides by 220 because this is multiplication here. To undo that, I divide. So I have 1906 divided by 220. And that should be 8.663636363 forever. We'll just call this n equals 8.66 for a nice answer. Okay, and that is what the answer key states for me, at least. Okay, now we're going to look at some gallons of gas, price per gallon, etc. Of 11 gallons of gas is $38.28. How much can you buy with $12.50? So what do we do now? Well, there is a way to do this. I'm choosing the proportions way because we did study proportions in this chapter. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say the price per gallon. And if I do that, I can see that the price is $38.28. That's the price, and the gallons is 11. Okay? Now, if I set up the second part of the problem, I know that I can buy some gas, but how much can I buy with $12.50? So since we have the price in the numerator of the fraction, I'm going to put $12.50 here. And on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and place my x to find out how many gallons I can buy. So what I'll do is I like to use cross multiplication. It's so simple and so straightforward. And in this case, it might be the easiest because to try to find a multiplier to get 38.28 to 1250, you'd have to do some division, etc. anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as there it is. I'm going to rewrite that as let's see, 38.28 times x, and set that equal to, let's see what I have, 1250 times 11. I'll put 11 times 1250. Okay. Now how do I solve this? Well, I see that I'm multiplying this number right here, this decimal number times the x. I can simply divide by that number and I will get a giant 1. It doesn't matter what the number is. I'm going to divide by 38.28. And when I do that, I can go ahead and just put in my calculator 11 times 12.5 divided by 38.28. I just want to make sure I'm doing that correctly. Let's see. So I believe that x, which is the number of gallons per gas I can purchase 3.59 gallons. I'll round it to the nearest hundreds. It was 3.591, and if you know anything about the 1, it makes you stay the same number. So 3 gallons, 3.59 gallons. Okay. So there you go. Next, how much would 8.7 gallons cost? 8.7 gallons. How much would 8.7 gallons cost? Again, I'm going to go with the price over gallons. I know already that I have 38.28 over 11 for the price per gallon. And then I can set that equal to the price per gallon of this situation right here. How much would 8.7 gallons cost? Well, I'm going to put 8.7 in the bottom because I have gallons in the denominator, just like I did up here. And so I have 38.28. Make this an X, I guess. I'll figure out the price. It's so much easier to do cross products here because you simply do that simple multiplication, take their product. Well, now we have 11x equals 38.28 times 8.7. Okay, there we go. Now I divide by 11 to get rid of that 11 here to make a giant 1. Okay, so let's put that in the calculator. 38.28 times 8.7 divided by 11, and you should come out with $30.28. That's number 2. Number 3, that's number 2. So that is proportional. This is ratios set equal to each other called proportions, and it really works well. And that was part of our chapter study. All right, next. Angie rode 5 miles in 40 minutes. What's her speed in miles per hour? Miles per hour. So I know if we go 5 miles in 40 minutes, that's miles per minute. So how can I change that into miles per hour? Well, there's one thing I could do. I could say I go 5 miles and I go 2/3 of an hour. How did I get that? Well, I know there's 40 minutes in 1 hour. 1 hour is 60 minutes. So I know 40 over 60 is 2/3 of an hour. That's what 40 minutes is, 2/3 of an hour. So if I do that, that is the same as 5 divided by 2/3, and we know how to do this, correct? That becomes keep, change the multiplication, and flip. That looks like it's 15 over 2. That's the same as 7.5 miles per hour. I bet you didn't see that, did you? I'll write it right down here. I'll move this over. Okay. 5 divided by 2/3 is the same as keep, change, and flip. That becomes 15 halves, which is the same as 7.5 miles per hour. Okay? There we go. It's that straightforward. Now, I think some people might try to do it a little differently with minutes and hours, but I think this is the simplest way to look at it. Okay? That's number 3. We're going to go on to number 4. And again, you can always back up and try these problems by yourself and fast forward the video and etc. Okay. A horse ran for 3 hours at 14 kilometers per hour. Well, that's pretty easy. Put the 3 hours, so that's a time, and then 14 kilometers per hour, that's a rate. Rate equals 14. So they gave us a time and rate, we can find the distance. Rate times time equals distance. And then the horse ran 2 hours at 7 kilometers per hour. So they ran 7 kilometers per hour, that's the rate. And then it has a time of 2 hours. How far did the horse run? How far? Well, we just go like this. Rate times time equals distance. Okay? that's going to be our first rate and time right here. Okay. Why did I put that there? Anyway, number 4, let's start this again. T equals 3, R equals 14. For the first part, 3 hours, 14 kilometers per hour. 2 hours, 7 kilometers per hour. Rate times time equals distance. So the rate is 3. No, the time is 3. But we'll just put them in different order. Uh-oh. Lights are flickering. I'm seeing some lightning outside. 3 times 4 plus the other time and rate. The rate is 7. The time is 2. We set it up this way and simply find out what the distance is, the total distance is. Okay, so we have 3 times 14, that's 42, plus, that's 14, that equals 56 kilometers. That's the distance, D. Next, we're looking at number 5. A bird is flying at an elevation of 300 feet. So I like to draw a little picture. Here it is. The bird is 300 feet in the air. Okay? Right, there's our bird. 300 feet in the air. And descends at a rate of 32 feet per minute for 5 minutes. So we can also do a rate times time equals distance. It's just this is the rate that we're going to be dropping. Okay? It's going downwards. How fast is it going downwards? Well, in 5 minutes, it's going to be a certain height away. What is that height? Or distance? In this case, distance. Well, the rate is 32 feet per minute, and it is 5 minutes. So when I multiply, that looks like 32 times 5 is, I think that's 160, if I'm not mistaken. 160. So, let's see. Is that right? 32 times 5. Yeah, 160. Okay? So it's 160. So if I have 300 feet and I drop 160, okay, here's my height. This is 160 that it drops from there to there. That's going to be 140 left over. So we just say 300 minus 160 is 140. 140 feet elevation. Okay. There we go. That's number 5. Now we're going to go on. Actually, I think we'll stop there and we'll make another video for numbers 6 through 10 or something like that. Okay, thanks.